President Bola Tinubu signed National Anthem Bill into law, and abroad, Spain and Norway formally recognized the Palestinian state as Ireland followed suit in a decision slammed by Israel as a reward for Hamas. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on Delta Television News. My name is Pauline Okolie. A Christian festival of praise and worship held today at the Event Center, Asaba, to mark the Governor Sheriff Oborevwori first year in office. The Praise and Worship Day is set aside to glorify God with gospel artists from all over the country performing. Ejimu Dweme reports.
Speaking at the event, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori read out his achievements in the last 1 year, saying he had kept faith with veterans through his more developmental agenda. He said out of the 317 ongoing road projects, 76 roads with a cumulative length of 171.49 kilometers and 85.30 kilometers length of drains were initiated by his administration.
At this moment, we have embarked on 317 road projects with a total length of 873.12 kilometers, while the length of drains covers 668.57 kilometers. It is important to point out that 76 out of these roads with a cumulative length of 171.49 kilometers and 85.30 kilometers of drain channels were started by this administration.
Governor Oborevwori said the state government had terminated the Warri Township Stadium contract and would re-award the job to a competent firm to give Deltans a world-class stadium. On security, he said Delta State was the safest state in the country and pledged to continue to partner security agencies to guarantee the safety of lives and properties of Deltans. On social welfare, he said thousands of Deltans had benefited from the More Grant Scheme and D-Care program. He said the welfare of the state workforce had been given attention through the payment of promotion arrears and other incentives to boost workers' morale.
This administration has also implemented several measures to boost staff morale and enhance productivity of the state workforce. These include, but not limited, to public officers' housing loan scheme to improve living standards of our public servants, public officers' vehicle loan scheme to address transportation challenges, thereby reinforcing government commitment to the well-being and mobility of its employees.
Governor Oborevwori commended his predecessors for their support and urged them not to relent in contributing to the growth and development of the state. In a sermon, the founder of the Word of Life Bible Church, Warri, and former president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, Pastor Ayo Orishejafo, lauded Governor Oborevwori for giving gratitude to God through praise and worship on his first anniversary, which he said will attract more blessings to the state. Pastor Orishejafo, who took his sermon from Psalm 100 verse 4, enjoined persons in position of trust to use praise to God as a weapon to overcome challenges. He congratulated Governor Oborevwori for the eventful 1 year in office and urged him not to deviate from putting God first in the state's affairs.
Your prayer will bring you to the gate, but your praise will give you access through the gate. Prayer is important, but you must learn how to praise God.
In his welcome address, the Chief of Staff, Government House, Asaba, Honorable Johnson Erijo said the Delta State Praise Day was established by law and encouraged Deltans to praise God for what he has used Governor Oborevwori to achieve for the state so far. The event featured soul-rendering gospel music performances by Mercy Chinwo, Frank Edwards, Buchi, Evangelist Emmanuel Ofano, Asuekie, Evangelist Jerry Ekpekuro, Tisio, Paul Nams, among others. The event was attended by two former governors of the state, Dr. Emmanuel Oduanga and Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, and top officials of the state government. Ejime Uduime reporting.
The State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Kemejiro Ovoriole, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, has reiterated the state government's commitment to advancing the rule of law. Mr. Ovoriole stated this in Asaba when the chairman and members of the Delta State House of Assembly Committee on Rules, Business, Legal, and Judiciary Matters visited him. He said there was need for lawyers in the State Ministry of Justice to understand the workings of the new civil and criminal laws because they were critical to effective implementation of the laws. Mr. Ovoriole stated that the judiciary was important because it was all about the rule of law, and the rule of law was the foundation for sharing prosperity, adding that the Governor Sheriff Oborowori More agenda was anchored on peace and security. He lauded the House Committee for its support, especially during budgetary process. The chairman of the House Committee, Honorable Spencer Wofa, said the visit was to familiarize with the Attorney General, adding that there was need for synergy between the ministry and the committee. He said the committee was committed to the people's welfare through our legal framework. The member representing Ndokwa West constituency in the State House of Assembly and member of the committee, Honorable Charles Emetulu, noted that Deltans were lucky to have Mr. Ovoriole as the Attorney General of the state and appealed for a robust relationship between the ministry and the committee for the overall benefit of the state. He enjoined the ministry to always prioritize its needs during budget defense. Residents of the state have extolled the sterling qualities of Governor Sheriff Oborowori. The residents who bared their minds in an interview with our reporter Gift Unosha said the governor had performed well since assuming the governor's office a year ago. The report.
When Governor Sheriff Oborowori was sworn in as the 5th civilian governor of the state, he promised Deltans that he would anchor his developmental vision on the more agenda, which means meaningful development, opportunity for all, realistic reform, and enhanced peace and security. 1 year after, the governor has been able to work the talk in terms of infrastructural development, peace and security in the state, completion of the commissioning of some state projects, youth empowerment, and good welfare of the state workforce. Some residents gave the governor kudos, saying his commitment to welfare of civil servants, especially prompt payment of salaries, had encouraged growth and development of the state workforce.
He made a promise during his campaign that he was going to pay arrears to people that were not paid before, and he has fulfilled that, and to us teachers, that is the best.
He's doing very well. The projects that the former governor left, he continued with it. He did not just abandon the project. The school system is working very well.
Our governor, first of all, he has a listening ear. That's the person that you can, because not every person can say, okay, let me cry to at the end of it, he will do it. So he's ever ready to hear. But from my side, from education sector, I know the things that we have complained and he has already fixed it for us.
On infrastructural developments across the state, the respondents scored Governor high and appealed for sustained developments in the state.
He has done well. He has been able to put data together. There is no serious security crisis. The one that erupted, he was able to manage it. At least people of Okuama have now come back.
Of students, bursary and others. Educational aspect, he has also actually done well. Another area is the expansion of the universities and that the former governor created. We have 3 other new universities, and you can see that he has also done well in the funding and accreditation of NUC.
He's a man that sees the heart of the masses, what they need, and he has tried so much to make sure that everything is going on well since he came.
The respondent, however, enjoined Governor Oberewori to tackle food insecurity in the state by investing more in the agricultural sector. Gift Unosha reporting.
The College of Permanent Secretaries and Heads of Extreme Ministerial Departments has congratulated Governor Sheriff Oborowori on his 1 year in office. In a statement signed by the chairman of the Welfare Committee of the group and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth Development, Dr. Ngozi Mogbolu, on behalf of the State Head of Service, Mr. Reginald Bayoko, the group said the governor's commitment to the well-being of the state civil service in particular and Delta State in general had been unwavering. Expressed satisfaction with the governor's strong commitment to excellence in project execution and prudent management of the state's limited resources. The group appreciated Governor Oborowori for recognizing its members as critical bridge between policy making and policy implementation and as custodians of the civil service values and principles. The group prayed that the state under the governor's leadership would continue to achieve milestones in the years ahead. The statement highlighted some of the governor's gestures that had endeared him to civil servants, including payment of over 5.5 billion naira promotion arrears to civil servants, award of salary grade level 17 to officers stagnated on salary grade level 16, soft loan facilities for housing and vehicles, visit to the state secretariat complex to familiarize himself with the working environment of civil servants, regular meetings with permanent secretaries, and recent release of official cards to permanent secretaries. While wishing the governor a successful tenure in office, the permanent secretaries and head of extra ministerial departments reiterated their loyalty and that of the civil service to the state government, even as they reaffirmed their commitment to upholding the highest standards of public service. The executive assistant to the state governor on communications, Dr. Latino Oronesiwe, has said that the State House of Assembly recent suspension of the member representing Uweli North Constituency 1, Honorable Matthew Omonade, has nothing to do with Governor Sheriff Oborowori. Dr. Oronesiwe was reacting to social media posts on the matter, maintained that the legislative arm was independent of the executive arm, adding that Governor Oborowori does not interfere in the internal business of the legislative and judicial arms, but would collaborate with them within acceptable boundaries to bring about good governance in the state. Dr. Oronesiwe was also the Chief Executive Officer of the Delta State Orientation Bureau, urged Deltans to disregard the mischievous allegation linking the state governor to the suspension of Honorable Omonade. The Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, the SAPADEC, has congratulated Governor Sheriff Oborowori on his first anniversary in office. In a statement signed by the chairman of the SAPADEC, Ologu John Nani, and the managing director and chief executive officer, Chief Festus Ochonogo, on behalf of the Commission's governing and management boards, The Commission expressed satisfaction with the governor's support for its board's initiatives to improve the lives of the people living in Delta State oil-producing communities. The statement noted that Governor Borowori had made significant achievements in his first year in office, particularly in education, healthcare, security, welfare, and infrastructure. The Commission said the governor's accomplishments had a positive impact on the lives of Deltans, while wishing the governor continued success, wisdom, good health, and strength as he continues to serve the state. The management and staff of the Delta State Orientation Bureau, DSOB, has rejoiced with Governor Borowori on his 1 year in office. A statement signed by the Executive Assistant to the Governor on Orientation and Communications and Head of the Bureau, Dr. Fedor Nesiwe, expressed pride in the Governor's leadership qualities and achievements in the last 1 year, noting that Delta State will set unbreakable records in infrastructure and socio-economic development under Governor Borowori's watch. The statement wished the Governor and the State Deputy Governor, Simon Denyimi, continued success, wisdom, good health, and strength to make Delta State the envy of others. President Bola Tinubu has signed the National Anthem Bill despite the opposition from Nigerians into law. The Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, disclosed this today during a joint session of the National Assembly. He also announced that the President would not address the House but only flag off the new anthem. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, said the President cancelled the joint address because June 12 is the official Democracy Day. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, has said the federal government has restarted the provision of conditional direct 75,000 naira cash transfers to 75 million Nigerians to tackle the impact of inflation. Mr. Edun disclosed this in Abuja during ministerial sectorial briefing to mark the first year in office of the President Bola Tinubu administration in Abuja. He noted that the beneficiaries of the social investment scheme were 15 million households nationwide. Mr. Edun, who is the chairman of the Presidential Panel of Social Investment Program, explained that the cash transfer would improve the living standard of Nigerians in the immediate term, adding that government had developed a system to ensure that payments got directly to beneficiaries through digital routes. He stated that beneficiaries must have a national identity number, account number, or mobile wallet to receive the cash transfer payments. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, has lamented that developing countries like Nigeria continue to lose their highly trained health professionals to developed countries that did not invest in their first professional education. Professor Pate, who stated this yesterday at the 77th World Health Assembly, WHA, in Geneva, Switzerland, noted that half the world's population was experiencing deprivations of access to basic health care. The 77th WHA, with the theme All for Health, Health for All, is being held from May 27 to June 1, 2024. The minister said the theme for this year's WHA resonated with the Nigeria Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative, whose goal was to save lives, reduce pain, and produce health for all Nigerians. He said the COVID-19 pandemic had laid bare the vulnerabilities in health systems, both in developed and developing nations, and has challenged countries to rethink the connection between access to health and social justice. The federal government is set to begin the manufacturing and supply of tires, batteries, brake parts, and other automobile components as part of efforts to boost the Nigerian automotive industry. They said the policy will boost the supply of local components to auto part markets by 40%. The Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Honorable Doris Anyete, disclosed this initiative yesterday in Abuja during the ministerial social briefing to mark President Bola Tinubu's 1 year in office. She said the program will be in collaboration with manufacturers, dealers, regulatory bodies, and other players in the automobile ecosystem. The minister said the newly developed framework would prioritize collaboration among manufacturers, dealers, regulatory bodies, and other stakeholders in the automobile ecosystem. The Nigerian automobile industry for a long time has been dependent on imports to meet local demands for vehicles and spare parts. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, Senator George Akume, has also charged the new Corps Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Mr. Shehu Mahmoud, to ensure the safety of lives and properties of road users in Nigerian roads. Senator Akume gave the charge in Abuja during the formal decoration of the newly appointed Corps Marshal. He said the position of Corps Marshal was a sensitive responsibility to save lives of road users, hence the new FRSC boss must not fail. Senator Akume said the FRSC was created to check speeding and bad road usage, which usually leads to the loss of lives of road users. You're watching Delta Television News. Still to come, Spain and Norway formally recognized the Palestinian state as island followed suit in a decision slammed by Israel. Please stay with us. We'll be back after this time out.
Where's Glory?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Glow! Where Glow now?
I take you.
Glow, don't go village. Tell all our customer.
Everybody pay attention. See, now Glow dedicated 10x. Now they dash me 10 times the credits when I load. Can't even summer me double data join.
Yeah. Wait, so with 1.5 when they give all of us, so you they enjoy up to 15,000 naira credit and data.
And I say I never finish you. See now say if we enjoy if I join Glow dedicated 10x. Una go get 1,000 naira welcome credit. You just carry your phone, dial *777#. Finish.
Correct. Glow, you don't win. You don't do.
Una still dey here. Hello, please, I'm looking for Glow. Please save now Glow be dey fine. Now Glow be dey go. Okay, so
enjoy 10 times the value of your recharge on Glow Berekete 10X. You also get 1,000 naira for calls and data and double data bonus on your subscription.
We're glad to have you back to Delta Television Main News. The global scene is next as we join our World News Desk.
Spain and Norway today formally recognized a Palestinian state as Ireland follows suit in a decision slammed by Israel as a reward for Hamas more than 7 months into the devastating Gaza war. The 3 European countries believe their initiative has a strong symbolic impact that is likely to encourage others to follow suit. As Oslo's formal recognition went into effect, Foreign Minister Espen Barth Eide hailed the move as a special day for Norway-Palestinian relations. Shortly afterwards, Spain followed suit, with government spokesman Pilar Alegría confirming the cabinet had formally recognized Palestinian statehood, qualifying it as a historic day. Earlier, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said such recognition was an essential requirement for peace, insisting the move was not against anyone, least of all Israel, and was the only way to secure a future Palestinian state living side by side with the state of Israel in peace and security. He added that the decision also reflected Spain's outright rejection of Hamas, which is against the two-state solution, and whose October 7 attacks led to the Gaza war. Ahead of his own cabinet meeting, Irish Prime Minister Simon Harris said it was an important moment that sent a signal that there are practical actions that can take a country to help keep the hope of a two-state solution alive. The plans were unveiled last week by the prime ministers of the 3 countries sparking a furious response from Israel, further exacerbating diplomatic tensions, notably with Spain. Gaza health authorities said Israeli strikes on a tent camp in an evacuation area west of Rafah killed at least 12 people today, and tanks advanced to the center of the southern Gaza city for the first time after a night of heavy bombardment. 2 days after an Israeli airstrike on another camp stirred global condemnation, Gaza Emergency Services said 4 tank shells hit a cluster of tents in Al-Mawasi, a coastal area that Israel had advised civilians in Rafah to move to for safety. At least 12 of the dead were women, according to medical officials in the Hamas militant-run Palestinian enclave. In central Rafah, tanks and armored vehicles mounted with machine guns were spotted near Al-Awada Mosque. The Israeli military said its forces continue to operate in the Rafah area without commenting on reported advances into the city center. International unease over Israel's 3-week-old Rafah offensive have turned to outrage after an attack on Sunday set off a blaze in a tent camp in a western district of the city, killing at least 45 people. Israel said it had targeted Hamas commanders and had not intended to cause civilian casualties. Global leaders voiced horror at the fire in a designated humanitarian zone of Rafah, where families uprooted by fighting elsewhere had sought shelter, and urged the implementation of a World Court order last week. Papua New Guinea ordered thousands of residents to evacuate from the path of a still active landslide today, after parts of mountain collapsed burying at least 2,000 people. Officials said the odds of finding survivors were slim, even as relief teams have trickled into the difficult-to-access northern Enga region of the Pacific nations since Friday. Heavy equipment and aid have been slow to arrive because of the treacherous terrain and tribal unrest in the remote area, forcing the military to escort convoys of relief teams. Residents have been using shovels and their bare hands to search for survivors. The United Nations said today that 6 bodies have been recovered so far, and the total affected population, including those needing possible evacuation and relocation, was estimated at 7,849. An international organization for migration officials said that a bridge had collapsed on the main highway to the site, forcing aid convoys to take a longer route. Papua New Guinea regularly experiences landslides and natural disasters that rarely make headlines, but this is one of the most devastating ones it has seen in recent years. The government has estimated that more than 2,000 people were buried in the landslide, which occurred early Friday, sharply higher than the United Nations figure of 670 possible deaths, and some local officials much lower estimates.
Our thought for the day. Don't let someone else's opinion of you become your reality. We'll take a look at our highlights. A Christian festival of praise and worship held today at the Event Center Asaba to mark Governor Sheriff Oborowori's first year in office. Speaking at the event, Governor Oborowori reeled out his achievements in the last 1 year, saying he had kept faith with Deltans through his more development agenda. The State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Ekemejiro Ovorole, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, has reiterated the state government's commitment to advancing the rule of law. Mr. Ovorole stated this in Asaba when the chairman and members of the Delta State House of Assembly Committee on Rules, Business, Legal and Judicial Matters visited him. President Bola Tinubu has signed the National Anthem Bill despite the opposition from Nigerians. The Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, disclosed this today during a joint session of the National Assembly. And abroad, Spain and Norway formally recognize a Palestinian state as Ireland, followed suit in a decision slammed by Israel for reward for Hamas. And that's our news. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Pauline Okolie. Good night.